first and landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining me in this segment is Illinois State Treasurer Michael Frericks. Michael, good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Grayson, good morning. I am wonderful today, ready for spring to be here.
I am too, and thankfully, with all the storms that came through, we got a little bit of sunshine to enjoy today and hopefully over the next couple days. So when it comes to spring, we've got spring planting season coming up, and I understand that you've got a photo contest that we're wanting to highlight here today, and also talk a little bit about how the state of Illinois is helping farmers this spring planting season and moving forward. Where can you take me with those two things?
Well, I'd say that with farmers getting back in the fields, we run a program called Ag Invest to help farmers with short-term or long-term borrowing needs. We know that agriculture is a big business in this state, and for individual farmers, you're talking about big dollars to put a crop in the field and take it out every year. So we offer loans. We partner with local banks. And one of the things we do to promote that program is we have a photo contest. We encourage young people throughout the state to take their cameras out into the fields, onto the farms, and take pictures of what modern agriculture looks like. The hope is twofold. One, they'll come back with some beautiful pictures we'll use in our promotional materials for our Ag Invest program. And two, hopefully some young people will see something new, will spark an interest in agriculture so that we can start enticing that next generation of ag leaders to enter the profession.
And Michael, when it comes to Ag Invest, what can you tell me about the program itself? It sounded like you're partnering with local banks, pushing some loans and getting money out to farmers that may be in need of it. Ag Invest, what can you tell me about the program itself?
Yeah, it's a over 40-year-old program. We currently have about $1 billion in loans out to farmers. So we call a linked deposit program, because we link a deposit of state funds in a bank to a loan made to a farmer. We take a lower interest rate than we normally would get, and the understanding is the bank is going to pass along some of those savings to farmers. So we know farmers need access to capital. We want to help provide lower interest capital to them, and this has been a great tool in the Treasurer's office for more than 4 decades.
And if it's been running for 4 decades, then I'm sure it has been well utilized and appreciated as well. And I think also on this end, if we're using local banks and institutions in order to do so, I can see how that could have a lot of benefit for not only farmers, but for also some banking here in the state of Illinois, local banks in the state of Illinois. Michael, I'm sure you know more than I even when it comes to these tariff talks. I know some of these have been kind of pushed back, and some have been even kind of blown up even more than what they were since the last time that they were announced. What can you tell me about the response that farmers are having right now to Trump's tariffs, or even just the state of Illinois' response to Trump's tariffs?
I think farmers have a lot of nerves. As long as I have been around farming, as long as I've been around politics, farmers have been supportive of free trade. They know that we can grow abundant, great crops better than other parts of the world. And if we just had the ability to trade freely, U.S. farmers win. Unfortunately, when we engage in a trade war, like President Trump has been doing, putting tariffs especially on our allies, they respond. They respond with tariffs on our price, which makes our farmers less competitive, or they just get angry at America. And we've seen several countries say, we're just going to stop buying U.S. soybeans, stop buying U.S. corn. We'll look to Brazil. Brazil realized a real opportunity to sell around the world. But other countries grow these crops as well. And I think it's really going to hurt U.S. farmers at a time when there has been enough pressure on them in terms of increased costs of inputs and decreased prices. Trump's tariff taxes put on American consumers are going to result in lower prices for our farmers and higher prices that consumers are going to pay at the grocery store.
And a concern for not only farmers, but residents of Illinois and across the country in terms of import prices and already rising inflation costs. And then what do these tariffs mean to some of those deals as well? And I know that right now, some of that's been on a 90-day pause, but then you see Chinese import tax or the tariff at 125% now. When it comes to the state of Illinois, what can you do to even combat something like this? Is there a way to combat something like this?
Well, what we can do is we can talk with our trade partners, try and sign agreements, but we can't get around these tariffs. Our markets, especially Illinois farmers, because of our access to rail and to rivers, are uniquely positioned to export to the world. It's been great for Illinois farmers. This trade war is going to be awful for them. There's going to be real pain felt. And just yesterday, the president announced he was rolling it back to just 10% across the board, although with some higher tariffs on Chinese. The problem is farmers know they plan many months out. We farmers aren't just typically sitting on a lot of product that they can sell anytime they want. They engage in longer term contracts. Other countries engage in long-term contracts. And if you're a foreign country looking to source soybeans or corn for this coming fall, do you trust America right now? Do you trust it will only be 10%, or maybe it will go up by delivery date? And I think that's why a lot of other countries are outsourcing. They're looking elsewhere to buy. And that is going to have a real ripple effect on Illinois farmers. And if you're not a farmer, you may say, hey, well, that doesn't affect me. I'll tell you, it's going to affect the prices you pay at the grocery store. But it's also, since agriculture is the number one industry in the state of Illinois, when agriculture suffers, it ripples down to the rest of our Illinois economy as well. I just really wish that this administration had a coherent policy and would stick to that policy rather than the seesaw we see back and forth every couple of weeks. Tariffs are going off. Tariffs are paused. Tariffs go up higher. They come down. They're paused longer. They go up on someone else. No one can make long-term plans with this policy or lack of coherent policy.
I think the concern for me is just like you mentioned, the seesaw, creating that short-term instability might lead to some long-term partners then saying, well, if it's short-term now, what's to say it might not be a long-term adverse effect? And so I appreciate you kind of explaining that as well. When it comes to trade agreements that the state of Illinois has made, this is something that I have seen recently, that the state of Illinois and the United Kingdom now have come to an agreement. You had mentioned to me before we got our start today that this has also been done with Mexico. And you touched on it there as well. But when a trade agreement is put in place between a state and another country, can you take me through that process and kind of how that goes for those like myself that aren't fully aware?
Yeah, each agreement can be a little different. Over the last couple of years or so, Governor Pritzker has led delegations to the United Kingdom, to Japan, most recently to Mexico, and I think there was a briefer trip to Canada, to take some Illinois business leaders, meet with business leaders in those countries, meet with government officials, and see if we can hash out some agreements. Some of those agreements deal with investment in Illinois. Some deal with trade deals. I know he led a large delegation of agriculture organizations down to Mexico to talk about selling Illinois beef, pork, corn, soybean. Director of Agriculture, Jerry Costello, went along and led those talks. We have some of the best soil, some of the best technology, some of the best, most hardworking farmers out there. We produce a great product. Countries around the world have wanted to buy it because we can also, through our rails and waterways, get it to them efficiently at low cost. But if you start putting high tariffs on top of that, it makes us a lot less competitive. And Governor Pritzker can't do anything about the policy coming out of Washington, D.C., but can do some work to help reach agreements between Illinois farmers and Mexican or Canadian or United Kingdom or Japanese businesses.
Interesting that kind of breakdown, and I appreciate you giving that for us as well. And when it comes to Mexico and buying U.S. pork, I believe they buy it at a large clip, we'll call it. And when you start to think about tariffs and different things of that nature, it does concern you and farmers, and really it should concern Illinoisans as a whole, as you mentioned as well. Well, right now, joining me here on the WTIM Morning Show is Illinois State Treasurer Michael Frericks. We're talking all things Illinois, really focusing here in this first segment on farmers and the impact of tariffs, but we also want to highlight their cream of the crop photo contest and what Illinois is doing for Illinois farmers as we move into the spring planting season. We'll be right back around with Michael when we come back on WTIM, your information station.
WTIM. WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville, our morning show here on your information station. We are going into our second segment here with State Treasurer Michael Frerichs. And Michael and I have been talking a little bit about how farmers here in Illinois are benefiting from different policies. We're also talking the cream of the crop photo contest that they've got going on, Trump's tariffs and trade agreements. But we want to turn the page a little bit and talk briefly about the state budget and just get an update from State Treasurer Frerichs. And what can you tell me about the state budget at this moment?
I can tell you there's a lot of uncertainty. Revenues are down from previous years. There are increased spending pressures, and the General Assembly is going to have a tough year this year. The governor's office has been telling them for a while. The legislative leaders have been telling their members, don't expect big increases in new programs out there. There's not really enough money for the current programs as organized. And so they're going to look at some new revenue sources. I think that's not their preferred method, but to find ways to make government more efficient and live within their means. I think that's probably where they end up, but we got a long way to go between now and passing a budget.
And when does that budget have to be passed for those that might not know out there?
Well, I mean, it depends how you define has to be.
Okay.
It has to be passed by July 1st, which is the beginning of the fiscal year. But if they want to pass it with a simple majority, it has to be passed by the end of May 31st. So if they go longer, they still have the month of June to pass something, but then they require a supermajority to pass something. And so the really effective answer to your question is by the end of May.
Okay. And so by the end of May, and that date is coming up quickly as we are already at April 10th of this year. It feels like Christmas was just yesterday. So time is
And
certainly.
Easter's just around the corner,
Yes.
and the General Assembly is going to be taking off next week because of the Easter holiday. And so they have even less time to pass a whole bunch of bills that have been filed and to pass a budget.
And so keep that in mind as well. Already with committees probably being bogged down with some of those bills and different things. And I believe committee week, a busy committee week a couple weeks back, and different things are moving along. But when you give them less time to make those agreements, you might find that we are running out of time even sooner. So I appreciate that note there as well. And let's talk about the holiday following, or the bigger holiday following Easter. We'll have Memorial Day coming up and not too long. And this is a big deal for you and a big deal for families out there as well. Returning funds, returning awards, or whatever the case might be to deserving family members that the state might have in their possession. This seems to be something that you're very passionate about, and rightfully so. You had mentioned to me that we're wanting to get some Purple Hearts out before Memorial Day. What can you tell me on that front?
Yeah, thank you. It is a holiday I look forward to. But let me first say to all your listeners, have a happy Palm Sunday this weekend and a happy Easter the following week. I know a lot of people will be excited for those celebrations, but in the Treasurer's Office, we're in charge of unclaimed property. That means property left in a bank safe deposit box. And what we found is a lot of people will store their military medals there, but they don't always claim them when someone passes away. They get turned over to us. We love returning these military medals, especially Purple Hearts. And we have been in talks with two families to determine who the rightful recipient will be. And we hope to return one and maybe two before Memorial Day this year. I think what a great way to honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice to our country, were awarded the Purple Heart, to return those military medals of distinction, to take them out of our cold vault and put them in the warm embrace of family. That's something I'm looking forward to.
And I know that's something that you are passionate about, and I can appreciate that on this end, because I'm sure that means so much to those families. Even some of them might not be fully aware that those are waiting on them. And so hopefully we can get that one for sure almost, and get that second out before Memorial Day as well. And so with about a little more to go here with State Treasurer Frerichs, we also want to talk college savings. What can you tell me there?
Yeah, well, the bad news is, because of the market uncertainty caused by Trump's tariff war, by imposing tariff taxes on American citizens, we saw a lot of uncertainty in the market. Trillions of dollars in values lost, but that also translated to our families saving for college. About $1 billion wiped out. Yesterday, some of that came back, but I'll tell people, the market goes up, the market goes down. There's always a good time to save, and that's today. To put money aside for a young person's future, to give them a brighter future. The money can be used for a college, for a university, can be used for a trade school, a vocational program, can now be used for an apprenticeship. And we're also pushing to be able to use those funds for certificates to help people get a better job. You can find out more information at Illinois Treasurer's Office, illinoistreasurer.gov.
And a perfect time to get that out there, as well, as we are about out of time here. We are speaking with Illinois State Treasurer Michael Frerichs. Michael, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Grayson, thank you very much. You have a great weekend. Enjoy the holidays.
I will, and you the same. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.